Hi, this is Sky, and when I want to know what's going on in the wide world of sports, I tune to Sportsworldradio.
Looking for the inside track on everything sports? You've come to the right place. Welcome to Sports World Radio, the fastest 2 hours of sports talk on the internet with your hosts, Jeff Escow and Elliot Big E Lomba.
What's up, everybody? How's everybody doing today? Glad you all could be with us on the Tuesday edition of Sports World Radio. Lots and lots to get to. Let's get all the particulars out of the way, and then we'll have some fun here today. This is Sports World Radio. We do it each and every Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. on the East, 3 p.m. on the West. If you live anywhere else, figure it out for yourself because I'm not doing it for you. During the football season, we go every Sunday morning, 10:30 on the East, 7:30 on the West. Yes, bright and early on Sundays for Jeff. Sports World Radio can be found on sportsworldradio.com. Head on over there. When you go over there, you'll see the notification bar come down. Click allow so you never miss a special episode of Sports World Radio or anything that we got going on here at the show. Find us also on Facebook at facebook.com/sportsworldradio. That's facebook.com/sportsworldradio. Also over at Twitter at twitter.com/sportsworldradio. That's twitter.com/sportsworldradio. Also, Sports World Radio is brought to you by professionalrecordingstudioequipment.com. Head on over there, pick up your microphones, your mic cords, your mic stands, your pop filters, anything you need at professionalrecordingstudioequipment.com. With all that being said, let's get the gang in here. Of course, the other half of Sports World Radio, the one, the only, Elliot Big E Lomba. What's going on there, buddy boy? How you doing?
What's happening, Jeff?
How's it going, pal?
Man, I'm worn out.
I know. We had a nice conversation about that in the green room, man. Oh.
And if you'll notice, I'm sitting now.
Yeah, I noticed that. You were standing in the green. On the show, he's sitting. How about that?
I just got overcome all of a sudden.
Yeah, well, hey, man, the guy's having a rough day. You know, he did a lot today. And
he did a lot to me.
Yeah, he did a lot, and they did a lot to him today. So, Elliot's here. Not 100%, but he's here. How about them apples right there? I like that. And, of course, also playing hurt, the other side over there in Florida because his work schedule has changed, our good friend Scott the Sports Nerd. What's going on there, buddy boy? How you doing?
I am excellent. How about them Indians, baby?
And, of course, we got Lance BROZDOWSKI coming on, so we could talk a little bit about that with him, too, as well today. There's a lot to talk to him about, actually. You know, so we'll talk to him in the second hour. First hour, we had the anybody watch that game last night?
Nope.
Yeah, I did a little bit.
I did not watch 1 second of that game because I was busy sitting down with my 13-year-old watching the presidential debate.
I'm sorry to hear that, Elliot.
No, it was great.
Hillary, he had his kid watching, so that's interesting.
His weave almost came off.
His what?
I said Donald Trump's weave almost came off last night as bad as Hillary was whooping on his ass.
Yeah, she kicked his ass. I knew she would. Actually, shut down my Twitter, shut down my Facebook, and I flipped back and forth between the game and Raw last night.
I just watched.
I was rather disappointed.
I went from the game to Raw last night. That was it.
Yeah, I made a comment that he was the Babe Ruth of debating.
So I didn't watch any of it, and I didn't want to watch any of it. I knew it was going to be a debacle, so I didn't really care.
It was, I'm sure.
Yeah, but how about what happened? Well, I'm going to wait till
he lasted like 30 minutes, and then he just lost it.
Yeah, I'm gonna wait till Lance gets here before I talk any of that stuff. So, what did you think about the game last night, there, Mr. Scott? Knowing that Elliot didn't watch any of it.
You know, I watched a little bit of it. I mean, when you got two teams with defenses this bad, it's going to be a shootout anyway. And New Orleans may very well be as bad, if not worse, than the Browns. The only upside they got is Drew Brees and that offense. The defense can't stop anybody. Right. I mean, if you can't stop Atlanta, if you can't stop anybody like that, it's going to be a long season in both New Orleans and Atlanta because their defenses are just horrible. Just horrible.
Yeah, I wasn't too impressed with it at all. And
No.
you know what? New Orleans offense made Atlanta's defense look better than New Orleans defense.
Yes, they did. Devontae Freeman, I think it's his name, Devontae Freeman.
Hey, Brad.
202 total yards from scrimmage last night. That's how bad New Orleans defense is.
Well, that's nothing. Tevin Coleman scored 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, Tevin Coleman. Who?
The second running back.
Yeah.
Well, actually, Tevin Coleman was supposed to be, when they drafted him, he was supposed to be the guy. And then he got hurt, and that's when Devontae Freeman came in.
Right.
And became the guy.
Yeah, well.
Now this year they started playing Tevin Coleman more, but it seemed like last night, and you know, not the fact that I don't watch the game doesn't mean that I don't follow what's happening in the fantasy.
Right.
And I'm gonna tell you what, on the fantasy landscape, Julio Jones did nothing last night.
He had 1 catch.
1 catch in the second half.
He wasn't even targeted in the first half.
Yeah. I mean, they totally, and you know what? Because they totally shut down Julio Jones, that allowed Devontae Freeman and Tevin Coleman to rack up, like, I think it was, they both had over 20 fantasy points.
Yeah.
Let's just put it that way. When you got your backfield, and that just tells you that New Orleans defense is probably the shittier against the run than it is against the pass, obviously.
Tevin Coleman last night put up 28.4 fantasy points.
Yeah, and
he scored 3 touchdowns. He had 42 yards rushing and 47 yards passing.
And Freeman wasn't too far behind. He had like 27, 20, 28 also or something.
Freeman last night had 29.2.
How many did Ingram have?
Ingram had 18, I think. No.
20? Hey, Gary.
He had 20, I think.
Ingram had 20?
Ingram had 20.7.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was big. The running games were big last night because even Brandon Cooks didn't have a lot of points.
Correct.
And Willie Snead didn't play. I think Michael Thomas was the one that had a good game last night for them.
Yeah, the Atlanta's running backs were 1 and 2 this week in fantasy points.
I'll tell you one thing. That wide receiver for New Orleans, what the heck's his name? That little dude, number 80?
Number 80.
Yeah, I think his number was 80 last. I think it was 80. Is the small dude, the little dude.
Michael Thomas.
Yeah. Yeah, Michael Thomas.
Oh, that's number 13. I'm sorry.
No, not Michael Thomas.
So
is his last name Lewis?
He must be special teams or something.
He had a pretty good wide receiver game last night for the Saints. That's the guy that Bill Parcells recommended to Sean Payton, and he came in at camp.
No, it was the kicker. That's the kicker.
Not the kicker. No, it was the little wide receiver dude. What?
Got me on that one.
Yeah, me either.
I'll go find it. Hold on.
What number was he?
I think he was number 80. I'm not 100.
There's one. Tommy Lee Lewis.
Tommy Lee Lewis, that guy right there.
He's number 87. He had 1 rushing yard and 43 receiving yards. Scored 5.9 fantasy points. He did not have a good game.
Yeah, okay, but he looked really good on the field though. I mean, he was pretty much open every time.
I didn't see anything that happened on the field. I could only go by what happened with the fantasy points, and I don't even see him on the chart, to be honest with you. So.
Third page.
Third page. There you
I ain't going that far. If I have to go to the third page, it ain't worth it.
Tommy Lee Lewis is his name, right?
It ain't worth looking if you got to go to the third page.
Yeah, Tommy Lee Lewis is his name, yes.
Okay. I'm going to watch that guy because New Orleans is out here next week.
Yeah, so basically 57 points from the 2 Atlanta running backs. And then you had the 20-plus points by Ingram. That's a lot of running back fantasy points.
And how many points did Matt Ryan have last night?
Matt Ryan had 19.9.
Yeah, 19.9.
Yeah,
Drew Brees had 25.94 in a losing effort.
Well, he's always going to score about 23 to 30, somewhere in that range. So, But anyway, it looks like Dez is supposed to be having some kind of an MRI on his knee.
Yeah.
Can those players ever stay healthy?
No.
Yeah, you're just a sore loser, Gary. I beat Gary in the league, so and I had Breeze, he had Ryan. I still beat him.
Oh.
Adam Gase told his players, the Dolphins today,
What do you call him?
Perform or get benched.
Well, the Jets had a meeting today too, so they're playing Seattle next week.
Yeah, that's going to be a good one because that Seattle defense is a lot better than Kansas City.
Yeah. The media called it a "come to Jesus" meeting, is what it was pretty much called.
The Jesus.
Yes.
So anyway, we all know that the Shane Vereen went on the IR finally. Kyle Fuller is headed to IR. Jeremy Langford out 4 to 6 weeks. So the Bears went out and picked up Joik Bell, former Detroit Lion running back.
Joik Bell?
Running back. Joik Bell, yeah.
Lions former Lions running back.
They played the Lions this week, so
he got released in preseason.
Very, very interesting.
Yeah. Amir Abdullah should be back in week 10 for Detroit. And rumor has it, expect a lot of Le'Veon Bell for the Pittsburgh Steelers once he comes back.
I would think so, wouldn't you?
They're not going to feed him lightly when he gets back.
I would think so, wouldn't you?
yes.
That puts an end to the any fantasy value that D'Angelo Williams has. Because if they're going full out Bell, Williams ain't going to see a whole lot of fantasy. It'll be too inconsistent to play him.
Did you see where both Garoppolo and the rookie were taking reps today in practice?
Really?
Yeah, I think Garoppolo is slated to actually be available to play on Sunday, which if that's the case and you have Gronkowski, now is the time to put Gronkowski.
Now is when you put Gronk in. That is correct.
Garoppolo will go to Gronkowski.
Yeah. Garoppolo's going to play Sunday?
That's the early indication.
Is that yes, he'll play Sunday.
Okay.
It's going to be last opportunity to play, so I'm sure he's pushing himself
to get back.
Yeah, well, him and Brissett both took reps today, so I mean they're both practicing. So
well, then that just
doesn't look like they're going to get the Edelman quarterback show this week. So
what trades are we talking about, Brett? In the league?
I know what the starter is until probably Sunday.
Yeah, there's a pending trade up there, Dale. Did you not see it?
Oh yeah, that's my trade.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, of course I know there's a trade up
there.
What,
are you trying to trade somebody? Are you trying to trade somebody to Lance's team?
Actually, that's not a bad trade, Elliot.
Huh?
That's not a bad trade.
No, it's not a bad trade at all. Not a bad trade at all. Because the thing is, I needed to unload Travis Benjamin. Yeah. Now knowing that it looks like it's going to be split between him and Williams, so it's going to be off every other week. Plus, I got Josh Gordon coming back.
Yeah, Josh Gordon come back after this weekend. That's correct.
Exactly. So I would need the space for a wide receiver. So that's why I got rid of Benjamin along with Theo Riddick.
I've got a couple of waiver requests in too.
So I traded Theo Riddick and Travis Benjamin to Kevin for Brent Selleck and Christian Michael.
Yeah, that's not a bad trade.
Not a bad trade.
No, because Selleck, Michael's now going to be the number one running back there.
Right.
Selleck might be a good stream for 1 week or for as long as Zach Ertz is out. So if I need a stream somewhere, it'd be good to have. If I don't need to keep him, I could dump him and get somebody else.
I think you might miss Benjamin, though.
No, not really. I'd rather have the running back because I got Josh Gordon coming back. So Josh Gordon.
So you don't need the extra wide receiver.
I don't need Travis Benjamin.
Yeah, but who's throwing the ball to Josh Gordon?
Don't matter.
It'll be McCown by the time Gordon comes back. Gordon's going to be back.
McCown may actually be ready to come back in a couple of weeks. He's got a fracture in his collarbone, separate, a little bit of a sprained shoulder. But other than that, he's fine.
Look, you know what? I got past that whole who's throwing to him thing when Trevor Siemian lit up the Cincinnati Bengals in Cincinnati.
Correct.
I always had a problem with Trevor Siemian. I didn't think he'd amount to nothing, but right now he is the best thing that ever happened to the Denver Broncos for not signing Brock Osweiler.
Correct.
Okay.
You see Elway trolled that fan that criticized Elway for picking him up in the draft in the first place?
I am not going to say who's throwing to him when you got Carson Wentz tearing up the Pittsburgh Steelers. I am not going to say those words anymore. Who's throwing to him?
Yeah, but Casey Kasem, Josh McCown ain't no freaking neither one of those two guys.
Yeah, but you know what? Case Keenum actually had a good game on Sunday.
Yeah, but he was going to give against the Bucs defense, which is terrible.
Exactly.
He did what he was supposed to do against a defense that was exploitable.
And you've got San Diego going up against the New Orleans defense next week, and Benjamin's going to have a good game.
Yeah, you want to
have a good game
if you got a fantasy.
Benjamin should have a good game, but I've got guys on my bench that I won't miss. Travis Benjamin. Here, I got Sterling Shepard, Michael Crabtree, Mike Wallace. Who else I got in here? And I got Jamison Crowder, who actually seems to now be Kirk Cousins' go-to guy in the wide receiver core because he's sparked it up. He's getting more attention than Jackson and Garcon.
Right.
So he's a guy that I would keep over Travis Benjamin. And again, trading Travis Benjamin was a strategy to open up a roster spot so Josh Gordon, when he comes on to play next week, I don't need to worry about where I'm going to put him.
Right.
So, and at the same time, it helps the other guy. He needed a wide receiver. And I also included a running back to make up for the Michael vacancy. It'll work out for him, and I'm pretty sure and hopefully it'll work out for me. I'm sorry, but Christian Michael is officially on all my rosters now. Because I think Thomas Rawls is out of a job. Okay, that's just my personal observation at the moment. The waiver wire, that's going to be a busy thing this weekend.
I've already got 2 waiver wire suggestions in.
That's it? I got 6. Well, I always put in a few because some of them I know I'm not going to get. But you never know when that one will slip through.
Very true.
Hey, that's how I got Theo Riddick this past week. Like I said, to me, look, I traded Justin Forsett to get Travis Benjamin. So basically, in the end, I traded Justin Forsett to get Christian Michael.
Mm.
I think I come out ahead in that deal all day long. But he got some good pieces too. Yeah, so the final results from the league this past weekend. Go ahead and get those scores up real quick. It's going down, man. It's going down. All right, so this week I'm playing Paul. Paul is 0-3 since he did lose to the infirmary yesterday.
Jesus.
Okay.
Make sure we congratulate Lance on his first victory when he gets here, too.
Yeah, exactly. Lance got his first victory. The final score of that game was the infirmary 114.2, here for the beer 113.06. It was all because of Kobe Fleener.
Wow.
I finished beating Scott by just a smidge under 50 points.
Oh, no, just a smidge, yes.
Yeah, it was 49 and change. Dude, Josh totally destroyed Mark, dude, by 60.4. Josh only missed scoring 200 points by 0.4 of a point.
Wow. Awesome. Way to go, Joshy.
4 yards short of 200 points. Dude.
Wow.
So
That's awesome.
yeah. So let's see who else. Kevin actually won. He beat Ronnie 104-91. Of course, we talked about the super game yesterday of 70-74 between Brett and Jeff Higgins. Hey, that 74 guy, he's who you're playing next, right? Jeff Higgins, Scott?
Yes, I think so.
Okay. And finally, out of the FFMX camp, we can declare there is a winner in the fantasy league, and it is Derek Laughlin, as he beat Nick by 6.18 points.
So it took them 3 weeks for one of them to get their first win?
Well, yeah, me and Scott beat them both.
I know. So one of them has their first win, and one of them is 0-3, right?
Right. So basically, Nick is tied with Paul at the bottom of the barrel.
We can't bust Nick's chops too much. He's the IT guy, right?
Correct.
Not on my end. He ain't got shit to do with my network.
Well, not the IT guy here either, but, the IT guy for FFMX.
I'll bust his chops all I want.
Well, he didn't get nothing right, man.
Derek, with that victory, managed to climb into 8th place in the division, in the league, should I say. The standings right now, Josh is on top of the sports division at 3-0. And let's see, right below him, and with an overall 4th place, is Mark at 2-1. Then the Infirmary is in 10th overall place, 3rd in the division at 1-2. And Paul, bottom of the barrel, both in the division and the league, at 0-3.
So Lance got his first win, huh?
Yes.
Lance got his first victory. He managed to get a win before Nick and Paul.
Yeah. Wow. That's something to brag about.
It is, because Paul is
I'm surprised Paul's doing so bad, to tell you the truth.
So am I.
Really, I'm kind of shocked over it, to tell you the truth, Elliot. Knowing how much of a fantasy football player he is, I'm shocked.
That kind of worries me, though, because he's doing so bad that I got a feeling he might pull some shit on me this weekend. He's been known to do that. Just when I think I got him beat. And it works both.
Go ahead.
It works both ways. So.
Yeah. Knowing that he's won a championship before, this is kind of freaking me out a little bit.
Yeah, well, he's won championships.
I know.
Game. I just don't know what happened here. Anyway, Kevin, who I just made that trade with.
Did he accept it?
Yeah. We talked about it on Facebook before I posted it.
Oh, okay.
So it was just a formality at that point. He's actually tied with Brett for first place in the World Division at 2-1. Ronnie and Mr. Prison Floor Soap Jeff Higgins are both tied at 1-2. And in the Maniacs Division, they don't want none, which would be me, 3-0. And second place, Scott, he dropped 3 spots from 3rd to 6th. But
it's all right.
if the season were to end today, you'd still be in the playoff picture.
Yes, that's correct.
So at 2-1, he's ahead of Derek by a game. Actually, 2 games, because if they finish tied, he beat him head-to-head.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, Derek's 1-2. And, of course, Nick's bringing up the rear all over the place at 0-3. Right now, the highest scoring team by 4 points right now is Mark. He's got 4 more points than Josh for the overall points through the first 3 weeks.
That rat bastard, he's an NBA analyst. How come he's doing so good? What the hell's going on?
But it's all about the record, baby. That's all I'm saying.
Who?
Mark, you said, right?
Mark. Yeah, Mark.
Mark, the true Duke guru, right?
Kaplan.
Yeah, he's our NBA guy. He's doing pretty good here in the NFL.
Well, it doesn't surprise me. Like I said, NBA is more in tune with NFL
Then MLB is, yeah.
than MLB is. You know, you see more interaction between football players and basketball players than you do between football players and baseball players.
Correct.
Yeah.
So, but which is why it doesn't shock me that Lance is doing so horribly, because he's a baseball guy. And baseball, you know, he plays fantasy baseball. It's a completely different animal because you got to play that every single day. You got to change your lineup. I
can't do that. I can't do that.
I know it's a lot more difficult than fantasy football.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah,
Too much work. It's too much work.
Hey, I did it one season about 15 years ago on ESPN. I actually won a league.
Yeah.
But I didn't really like it.
Yeah.
Having to freaking change that. That's why I don't play fantasy basketball either. Because you got to make the changes every night. And
that's why I don't play fantasy basketball, fantasy hockey, fantasy NASCAR. I can't
anything
do it.
I got to do on a basis that doesn't make me money, then I ain't playing it.
We used to have a fantasy baseball league on Sports World Radio. I stopped that crap after 3 years. I said enough is enough.
Man, no, but it's too hard, man. It's just too hard, man. And then with football is something that everybody talks about.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I just couldn't do it.
Some people you don't get to want to talk basketball. Some people you get to don't want to talk baseball. But everybody wants to talk football except Inky, of course. But
I spoke to her Monday night, actually.
The rest of us normal people like to talk about.
Actually, I spoke to her Sunday night, actually.
You called us yesterday.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, it looks like the league is starting to shape up. We've got a 14 week. Is it? No, 13.
I don't know what it is.
Yeah, we got a 13-week regular season. So we got actually 10 weeks left.
10 weeks left
Of regular season fantasy, and then there's going to be 3 weeks of playoff.
Cool.
And now this week, the matchups are: I'm playing Paul. Mark is playing Brett. Brett, homie, you need to get that lineup in order, my friend. Because
Mark is playing Brett.
Yeah, Mark.
What's Brett's record?
Brett's tied for first, but the thing is that Brett, he's got 352 total points, opposed to Mark, who has 437. So his team has scored almost 100 points more.
Wow.
In the first 3 games than Brett has. So Brett's going to have to pull some rabbits out of whatever cavity he can pull them out of. Because Mark's not going to be easy.
No.
Mark is not going to be easy. All right, then you got Kevin. He's going to be playing the infirmary next week. So maybe Lance could go 2-0. Yeah? I mean, 2 in a row.
Yeah,
that would be sweet. You doubt it?
Yeah, without that.
All right.
Lance.
Josh is playing Mr. Derek Laughlin this coming week.
Oh, that's going to be disgusting.
Huh?
That's going to be sad.
Yeah. I have a feeling that's going to be really sad.
Oh, Josh kills him.
Yeah, it has the makings of a destruction, but I don't want to say anything because you know what? Paul, who has one of the better fantasy rosters in my league, okay. I mean, his roster.
Yeah, I didn't have to say that. I just started laughing. Both of them looked right at the chat room.
Paul has a great roster. And it's the same roster pretty much that he won the championship with last year.
Really?
But he only had 119 points out of 12 guys.
Wow.
And that's ridiculous. 2 points out of – look, you got Julio Jones and you got Kelvin Benjamin. You don't expect the total between those two to be 2.6 points.
No, you do not.
You know what I'm saying? 2.6 points between 2 of the elite receivers in this league. It's just doesn't add up.
Job.
This past week did not add up because we all lost the Monday night game too, right?
Yeah.
We all lost the game last night.
Yeah.
So I know I finished 5-11.
I finished 8-8.
I think I won 6 games.
Woo! Yeah, so you were 6-10, and I know the other guys were 5-11 as well. So it's kind of rough. You know, it's a rough week when the best record between the 5 on screen is 8-8. That's a bad week.
Yeah, I won 6 stinking games. Holy crap. This week's games are not fun to pick neither, I'm going to tell you right now.
Well, let's take a look at the schedule.
Cincinnati and Miami are on Thursday night in Cincinnati.
Miami, Indy and Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Okay,
Carolina at Atlanta.
Time out. Slow down. I'm trying to catch up with you guys here.
Yeah, Cincy and Miami in Cincy Thursday night.
Okay. Yeah, Cincy and Miami. Preliminary. You know, Cincinnati's defense did not look great against Denver. Did it?
No.
Tannehill's starting to find his dudes, but they still have a weak running game, man. Their running game is just too predictable with 3 scrubs, basically.
And trying picking a survival team out of this week's contest is not fun.
Well, let's take a look. We got Cincinnati, Miami. Next game is
Indy and Jacksonville at Jacksonville.
That's a doozy.
I don't even want to touch that game as a survivor game.
If Blake Bortles can't score fantasy points against Indianapolis, you might as well drop him to the free agent waiver wire because so far he's sucked the big one.
Uh-huh.
And I'm sure he was a keeper for some people, you know, in fantasy. So. Indianapolis, Jacksonville, you know, I would say that game of being in Jacksonville, play Indianapolis, play a lot of Indianapolis. Whoever they got, just play them.
And then you got Carolina at Atlanta.
Now that's a tough one because remember last year, Carolina 14-0 went into Atlanta and got beat.
Yeah, they did.
You know,
that is their undefeated aspirations for that season. But now you come off these last 2 games. Carolina looked every bit of a non-playoff team against Minnesota.
I know.
And on the other side, Atlanta looks like it just can't stop scoring.
Right. Exactly.
But Carolina has a good defense.
Right. So I'm not touching that game at Survivor.
It's a division battle. It's a division battle, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's not the game you want for your Survivor.
Yeah. Then check this out. A boring game, Detroit at Chicago.
Actually, I wouldn't call it boring only because they're going to score a lot of points. This is 2 defenses that aren't doing all that well. So from a fantasy look, if the fantasy numbers are going to go haywire, then I'm good with that. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
If there's a game that has a lot of, I don't give a shit if the 2 teams suck. If they're going to throw up a lot of fantasy points and it's going to help the fantasy brethren out there to, advance in their games, sure, why not? So otherwise, if it meant anything, I wouldn't watch it.
Right. Buffalo at New England.
Buffalo, New England. Historically, Buffalo gets crushed when they go to New England. But historically, it didn't work too well this past weekend, so I'm a little squeamish when it comes to that now.
And then you got the Jets flying to Seattle.
Look, if Garoppolo plays, I think New England wins easily. If Brissett plays, I think it's a bit more of a competitive. And if Edelman plays, anything goes at that. Seattle at New York.
Oh, yeah, Seattle at New York. How crazy is that?
Man, I told you guys a little earlier, Seattle's defense is leaps and bounds above what Kansas City defense. And Kansas City threw up 36 fantasy points this week on the New York Jets.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, they picked Fitzgerald off 6 times.
Well, that's because Fitzgerald was colorblind and he thought that red was white. So, yeah, he threw. Didn't he throw more completions to the Kansas defense?
I think so.
I don't know about that, but he was bad.
He threw at least 6 completions to them.
Right.
Guys,
At least
drop
6.
out. I got to drop out, guys.
All right.
Sorry.
Yeah. See ya. Don't worry about it, buddy.
All right.
Go lay
I'll
down.
see you guys tomorrow.
All right. Go take care.
All right. Thanks.
All right. So, where were we? Seattle.
Yeah.
Again, that's going to be interesting because it looked, and again, everybody's saying it's the 49ers. But here's the thing. Seattle kind of found themselves a little bit. I know everybody's like a little concerned about Russell Wilson and the ankle and all that, but I think he's going to be fine. One thing about an athlete like Russell Wilson, they tend to recover faster from injuries than most of your regular, players that don't have that athleticism. So I think he'll be fine. They'll probably what they did Sunday, and I know the Jets have a much better run defense than San Francisco does, but the Jets did not look impressive at all. And Seattle's kind of got some momentum going.
Right.
No, it's going to be a tough call only because both teams have good defenses. But if Seattle's offense comes out the way they did this weekend against San Francisco, I don't know. Man. That's going to be a tough one. I would say if you were going to pick a survivor game, I would pick Washington over Cleveland.
See what? Really? Who knows what Kirk Cousins is going to do though?
No, Washington's at home. Kirk Cousins, he hasn't played awful. And he played really good this weekend.
And they lost a lot of players too, though, didn't they?
This is the Cleveland Browns defense we're talking about.
Yeah, but they lost a lot of players too, Washington, didn't they? Some on defense, right?
That's on the defense. They still got Josh Norman out there. They lost Brashad Breeland, who really wasn't playing all that well anyway. Who knows? You bring in a rookie, he's going to probably might even do a little bit better. Who else did they lose on the defense?
I thought they lost a big name in the game, in the Giant game.
Look, if Josh McCown is the quarterback, then I would not put that as a survival pick. I would definitely consider it one if Cody Kessler and the Terrell Pryor combination is put into effect. Mm-hmm. But here's the game that you really, really want to – Baltimore, Oakland, that's going to be a tough one because Oakland can't stop the pass to save their life, or unless they play Marcus Mariota and the Tennessee Titans. Baltimore's been looking good.
Right.
And that's a tough one.
Yeah, but David Carr.
Here's your lock. Here's your lock right here. Tennessee at Houston.
Carr's looking good.
Yep. That's your survival pick right there.
Who? Which team? Houston? Over
Houston?
Tennessee?
Are you kidding me? At home? Against Tennessee? Houston's going to come in stinging after that loss they had in New England. And Tennessee has not played a lick of offensive football in any of the first 3 games.
I was actually thinking of picking San Diego over New Orleans.
I wouldn't go that far because San Diego doesn't have a great defense either. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. That's going to be another match and a half there. That's going to be a scoring marathon over there too, I think.
I honestly think that of all these games, if I were to pick a lock, it would be Houston against Tennessee.
Yeah, it's a tough pick this week, actually. If you look at all the games, it's a tough pick to pick one survival team.
Dallas at San Francisco is I don't even trust Minnesota. Pittsburgh, Kansas City, I don't trust that.
Right.
Jeff, as I look at all these games here, and there are less games obviously this week because of
five. Yeah.
Okay. But of all the games that I'm looking at here, the only 2 that give me any kind of comfort would be the Washington-Cleveland or Houston, Tennessee. Both teams are at home. Both teams play well at home. The two teams they're playing are awful that don't play well on the road. I know that they did well against Miami, but that's because they threw in a wrinkle with Terrell Pryor that Miami wasn't expecting. But Washington is not going to fall for that. But to me, I think the most locked game, it has to be Tennessee at Houston. You saw what Houston defense did at home the first 2 games of the season.
I know.
They freaking crushed people. And to say that you can take that away from them because they got shut out by the New England Patriots, I think is a bit unfair because these are the New England Patriots. This is Bill Belichick. They do things that you don't expect them to do, and they provide outcomes that you never think possible. You know, so I still think I think Houston coming home pissed off from being embarrassed in New England at Foxborough, okay, at Gillette Stadium on national television. Okay, they're looking for somebody to beat up on, and Tennessee is the perfect guinea pig for that to happen. So,
it's gonna be
to me, I see a lot of fantasy numbers up here myself, but that's a lot what we're going to talk about in, coming up this week. So there's actually 15 games this week. So there's only 2 teams that are not playing this week: Seattle and Philadelphia.
Right. Oh, Seattle's playing. They're playing the Jets.
Philadelphia and Green Bay, excuse me.
Okay.
Those are the 2 teams that are off. I know because I had to take Aaron Rodgers out of my lineup.
Yeah, so does Jeff out of the lineup this week.
That could be a tough. Well, considering who's he playing, Derek?
Yeah.
Derek's team doesn't score a lot of points. So.
Well, I don't know who he has as a backup, so I don't know who the backup quarterback is on Josh.
What do you mean? What do you mean? How long you sit on a trade before you make a decision? If somebody's making the offer to you, then you've got 1 day. And then at that point, the trade drops off and you'd have to do it all over again. So, yeah, because he accepted mine, and today's Tuesday, and that one will process on Thursday. If he hadn't accepted it and tomorrow rolled around, then it would have dropped off tomorrow at whatever time I offered him to trade today, 24 hours later, basically. So, any other questions I can help you with? I am a fountain of fantasy football.
I'm looking over at my survival league. They have the number 1 team ranked to pick at 30.96% is Washington. Cincinnati is second at 20.88%. And then Arizona's third at 14.11.
Where do they have Houston at?
Houston's fourth at 10.27 right now.
Okay, so Washington is the number 1, right?
Correct.
Isn't that what the first thing I told you was Washington?
Yeah, and Baltimore's 13th at 0.51%.
Yeah, well, like I said, to me, I think Washington and Houston are, to me, the 2 top ones. I don't care what that thing says. Those are the top.
Yeah, that's what according to what people are picking. It's pretty much according to what people are picking. You know what I'm saying?
If anybody picks Cleveland or what's the other one?
Tennessee.
If anybody picks Cleveland or Tennessee, it's just because they're from there or they're Scott.
Right.
Cleveland and Tennessee are not anywhere near being good picks for tonight. I kid you not. I would steer totally clear of that situation. What else we got going on out there? Hey, wasn't that crazy last night? I know you're probably gonna talk about this with Lance. But that kid D. Gordon getting up at the beginning of the game, first at bat. Dude never hits home runs.
Yeah, he's a left-handed bat, but he batted from the right side like Fernandez would.
From the
For the
right.
first pitch.
Yeah, he started.
Right, and then he
And
went
then he
over, and then
switched.
2 pitches later, bang, home run.
A home run. He hit a shot, dude. And he even said it himself. That is the longest home run I ever hit, even including batting practice.
Right, that's his 8th career homer. It's 8th career homer.
That is the longest home run he ever hit in his life. And it just so happened on a night that I really love the fact that they were all wearing Fernandez number 16 jerseys.
Yes, that was cool.
That was really cool.
Yeah, they did a really good job on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just sad, the whole situation. But when you live life on the edge.
Apparently, he did a lot of fishing with his friends.
Yeah, but how did this boat all of a sudden crash and capsize?
They were going too fast, and they misjudged where the rocks were, and boom, bang, boom.
Exactly. So they were treating it like a speedboat instead of a fishing boat.
Correct. And also, there's no light on the boat. Every boat I've been on's got a light out front, so you can see where you're going a little bit. Huh?
I don't do boats very often, so I wouldn't know.
So
last time I was on a boat,
3 o'clock in the morning, out on a boat, and you're going fishing. Huh?
I was a kid. Yeah, no, and you're in Miami,
right?
Usually, boats in the Miami harbor are not doing too many good things at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Correct. But he wasn't the only one that passed away, or was killed.
Well, no. And I don't mean to make light of it, but again, 3 o'clock in the morning in the waters of South Florida,
in a speedboat, pretty much.
And that's when drug activity happens during that time of the morning, dude. That's when a lot of the drug muling goes on. Are we sure they didn't stumble onto something?
Who knows?
Accidentally?
Who knows? I have no idea.
It's crazy though, but I feel really bad because that's just terrible. Young life, a guy who has such a bright future. I mean, he was good now. He was great now.
Yeah.
And he had nothing but more time to grow and get better. And now he doesn't have that chance. Which, you know what? That just goes to show us in this thing we call life. Don't take for granted every day that you get up and God gives you another chance to live on.
Mm-hmm. That's right. That's why we keep coming back for more punishment here on Sportsworld Radio.
Yeah. Our intention is to punish you guys.
That's right. And don't you forget it.
Yeah, I know the kid that's going to be born will never know her father or his father. They knew what the sex of the baby was, but yeah, it's crazy. How things like that happen. I mean, Arnold Palmer is sad as well, but you're 87 years old. Come on, he lived his life.
The full life. He died of heart failure, for Christ's sakes. Come on.
Productive life, okay?
Right.
24. That reminds me of Roberto Clemente, dude. When he got killed.
When he got killed. Mm-hmm.
Young guy, man, just trying to do good for the world.
Yep, and boom, there went that.
I remember exactly where I was when I found out that Roberto Clemente died. I had just walked into the vestibule at the church where I was an altar boy in the Catholic Church. And I had just walked in to participate in the service when the priest at the time tells me, "Did you hear about Roberto Clemente?" And I said, "No." He said, "He died last night." I go, "Wait a second. Didn't he just get his 3,000 hit the other day off John Matlack of the New York Mets?"
Mm-hmm.
And then he was dead. Yeah, he had just gotten his hit at the end of the season. And then, 3 months later, he was done?
Yep.
I was like, whoa. Roberto Clemente, man. Definitely a talent that was gone far too soon. Can you imagine what he would have done had he played his entire career?
Unbelievable.
Hey, did you hear Trump made an excuse that the reason he lost the debate last night is because his mic wasn't working?
That don't matter.
It's just cracking me up, dude.
It don't matter.
So what else you got? What you got going on over there? Anything interesting happened in wrestling last night?
They started the show off with Rusev and Reigns in a rematch.
Reigns won?
No, they both got counted out, to tell you the truth.
Okay.
They both got counted out, and then something happened, and then Reigns started losing, and then Reigns just all of a sudden they're back in. They were out in the ring. They went into the stands for a while, and Rusev got away from him. He came back in. Reigns came back in. Rusev beat him up for a little while, and then Reigns just killed him, and that was the end of that. Yeah, hit him with a chair a couple of times. Rusev hit Reigns with a chair a couple of times. You know how it goes. Then Reigns got up and hit him with the chair a couple of times. So Reigns still is champion.
Okay.
You know, I don't know what the hell they're doing, to tell you the truth.
What happened with Kevin Owens? Anything?
He was on the highlight reel with Jericho last night, and Tango and Cash came out and challenged them to a match. So they had a match, and Tango and Cash lost.
What?
Yeah, Kevin Owens pinned Tango.
What was the main event?
That was the main event.
That was the main event.
Yeah. Otherwise, it was kind of big. What's her face? Stephanie yelled at Mick. Got all over Mick's case and all that good crap.
Well, that's going to come to an end soon, man.
Yeah, I think so.
Mick wasn't there to stay for a long time.
Yeah, I think so.
Mick's there until somebody else shows up.
He's on his way out. I think so. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, it was 3 hours of. They had the the cruiserweight guys wrestle. Women's bull crap, you know how that goes. Charlotte, I'm the champion, I'm the queen. Yeah, you're also a whore because that's what you look like. I can't stand her.
If it wasn't for your daddy, you'd be nobody.
Exactly. I'm the best that ever was. And shut the hell. Every time she says that, yeah. If your daddy wasn't Ric Flair, you wouldn't even be freaking wrestling. So shut the hell up.
Exactly.
Yeah, I can't stand her.
You'd be waiting at the table somewhere, honey.
She was getting her butt beat, and she's standing out, trying to get out to the ring and get to the ropes. And she's go, what's her what's
Dana?
the person's? Yeah, Dana. You're Dana, help, Dana. You're always asking for help. I thought you were the best. Stop asking for help, dumb bitch, and do it yourself.
Hey, did you see Lance came in?
Yeah, I sent him the invite. I don't know what the hell he's doing. I'm telling
you, man, these baseball guys. Dude.
Yeah, anymore, man. You know.
Too many bats to the head.
You know, yeah, that and too many times just hanging out in the freaking press box, just sitting around doing nothing.
It's one beanball too many, yeah.
Yeah. Did you see? It was whatchamacallit, Vince Scully's last weekend calling games at Giants Stadium. Not Giants, Dodger Stadium. Yeah.
Chavez Ravine.
At the Chavez, yeah. Yeah, they did that whatchamacallit thing on ESPN. Did you see that? They had him doing a couple of innings on ESPN.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was pretty. You know, hey, listen. Listening to Vince Scully do a game, it's like listening to, I don't know. He's great. I mean, I love listening to Vince Scully. I mean, what else do you say? That's what slow much. Let's go, buddy. Hurry up.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
All right. I don't know why my video's not pulling in. Give me 1 sec.
I hear you, but I don't see you.
Yeah, that's weird. It's like giving me an audio stream. It's not letting me see the video side.
Fix your shit, man.
1 sec. I'm not using my computer, so.
No, there you go.
That was the problem 2 weeks ago.
Okay, here we go. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, go into your into settings on the computer itself and see which camera.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing. I'm trying to jump on it now. Okay. But anyways, how you guys doing?
Good. How are you doing?
We can keep this going until my video comes.
How you doing, pal?
Good. How about you guys?
Good. You've been MIA for a couple of weeks, huh?
Yeah, I have. I've been working now, so
Yeah.
it's a little bit interesting with how my timing works and stuff. So I ran out of a post-work little social today to get back here and do this. But yeah, I mean, the week commitment's going to be tough, but I'm going to get on here as much as I can because there's a lot of baseball to recap. So
Yes, and yeah,
might be moving days. We might be doing some schedule swapping and stuff.
I want to.
By the way, I'm cutting out of here early, Lance. So
Yeah, you want to talk football quick?
You're gonna be. It's gonna be you and Jeff.
Sure.
I just wanted to take this opportunity to congratulate you on your first fantasy
win.
win.
I know. Did you see that? Kobe Fleener. Did you see Kobe Fleener? What a boss.
Kobe.
I wasn't see the funny thing was too, I wasn't even gonna start him. Sunday I was looking at my lineup and I was like, I might go Jimmy Graham and I might just drop Fleener. And then I was like, you know what? Stick to the team. Like it's a little early to count out Fleener, and what a game.
Graham had a pretty good game, but he didn't.
And I mean,
he didn't.
prior to last night's game, it was I had Mohamed Sanu. He had I had Mohamed Sanu and Kobe Fleener. He had Julio Jones, Brandon Cooks, and Tevin Coleman, and I beat him.
Yeah, I don't think Cooks and Jones combined for 10 points between them.
I think they had under 8. They were terrible yesterday. I didn't watch much of the game. I was watching the debate and stuff, but
it was
I turned it on to see the Fleener outburst late, and man, I was happy.
Neither team showed any kind of a run defense. That's what happened.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, Coleman, didn't Freeman get more touches? Freeman looked better than Coleman. He's got all the goals.
They combined for 57 fantasy points.
Jeez.
That's terrible.
That's unreal.
In one game. Coleman.
That's unreal.
Yeah, that's incredible. That's just incredible. But yeah, you got your first victory, man. You got out of
Way to
the
go,
long
bro.
road back from 0-2. So this should be interesting.
Look, feel good that you're now leading. You're now actually sitting ahead of a fantasy football expert and another and a perennial fantasy football champion.
Yeah, I mean, no, but those guys are really good. I'm in fantasy leagues. I consider myself
they're
somewhat
0-6. They're 0-6.
I know they're 0-6, but I
good.
feel for them because I know a lot of the fan. I consider myself fantasy baseball very savvy in it, and it's one of those things where you just don't know year to year what's going to happen. But the two things that I would like to next time maybe mention to them, I'm sure you talked about them already, but I remember during the draft. I don't remember who it was, but they were really high on Bortles and then Tyler Lockett. And I'd like to see what they – I mean, I'm not making fun of them at all, but, I'm high on other guys too who probably suck. But both those guys seem to be almost non-existent right now. And actually, I'm wondering if they see something differently, or are they still confident in that?
Actually, Tyler Lockett is still viable. He had a couple
– he's viable, but he was taken very, very early in that draft. And he is not going to end up as a top 20 receiver at the moment.
Look, here's my deal when it came to the FFMX analysis of that particular situation. Okay? Tyler Lockett did a lot last year towards the end of the season in fantasy, and so that kind of carried over in everybody's mind that he was all of a sudden going to be the guy in the wide receivers. But And I know Derek did this, and I'm not sure how many times Nick might have done it if he did it all, but they kept insisting that Tyler Lockett would surpass Doug Baldwin, okay, as the number one receiver in Seattle. Weren't impressed with Baldwin, but Baldwin has silenced those critics really quick. Because he's had really good fantasy games, and he's still the number one target there, not Tyler Lockett.
Yeah, and I think that's very clear too. And I think that another thing, jumping over quickly to Bortles before we get into some baseball, is all those post second half touchdowns that he threw last year. He's am I the only one that thinks he's not that good of a quarterback?
No, you're not the only one.
He's not.
You're not the only one.
He's not a good quarterback. It's the 1 year blip. I feel like it happens a lot in football because we're running on such a small sample size every year. But man, we get 16 games of good from a guy, and everyone just flips out. It happens with Cousins. It happens with Devontae Freeman. Devontae Freeman, for granted, looked good last night, but Cousins doesn't look that good. Bortles is he's garbage at the moment. He's going. What are they? They're at home against Indianapolis,
Yeah.
and Indianapolis is getting 1.5.
Look,
I think.
I said
That's shocking.
Hey, look, before you came on the screen, okay, I told everybody here, if Blake Bortles cannot score good quarterback fantasy numbers this week against Indianapolis,
Give it up.
then he needs to go to the waiver wire. Because
I mean, I think that it's still very early.
worth a spot on your roster.
I think it's still really early because, I mean, the same thing everyone was saying after week 2 with Fleener, and look at Fleener. You got to give like 4 to 5 weeks.
But here's the thing is that you got many, many better quarterbacks on the waiver wire than Blake Bortles at this moment.
At this moment, but is it that going to carry on rest of the season is the question.
Well, it doesn't look like it's.
I agree. But I think if you're a Bortles owner and you run like a shitty
you have
quarterback
Blake
in your 2,
Bortles?
I don't know.
You lucky bastard.
Then I don't see the concern.
No, but I mean, like it's relevant. Like I'm saying, like if I had Bortles, I don't have him in any of my leagues, but I'm saying if I had him, I would bench him and pick up another quarterback. I would not drop him.
Look,
he's not droppable
if
yet.
you had
I understand the point,
if-
but I would not drop him.
I
If you
would.
have Blake, you wouldn't have won yesterday.
That's fair, I know. But I mean, another guy, Tyrod Taylor. Okay, I had drafted him in a couple leagues, and he was terrible week 1. But I'm holding with him. I'm just going to keep him on my bench for. I picked up Jameis, and I picked up Winston in another league. I'm going to run them and see what happens. But I think it's more likely than not that whatever waiver wire QB you're looking at right now is not as valuable as Bortles once you hit like week 6.
Oh no,
Bortles ain't valuable at all.
I think it's very true because who else is on the waiver right now?
there's a lot of guys.
Who's the best waiver QB?
Dude, Kirk Cousins is on the waiver wire in some leagues, and he
No, come on. See, he's probably higher owned than Bortles. So if you're in a league that's dropping Cousins and Blake Bortles, like
three out of
that's
the four,
just a
in
weird
3 out of the
league.
4 leagues I'm in, Kirk Cousins is on the waiver wire.
Oh God,
Yeah.
I don't know what to say there. I mean, I don't think he's gone in a lot of leagues. I think that's a heavy overreaction with both the guys. But
Well, after the first,
I don't know.
there was a reaction to Kirk Cousins and his inability to show his wares. You know, he got fortunate this week that he finally got it together against the Giants, or else, especially after all the controversy from last week, where the coach had to basically step in and say, "We got confidence in the guy," but it didn't really sound convincing when he said it. You know what I'm saying? So overcame the obstacle that was put in front of him. He did. He had a good game against the Giants. Now he needs to sustain it. You see, that was what he did last year too. Okay, he had a chance. There was no way he should have lost to Green Bay in that playoff game. And it was his inexperience and his inability to continue to play his game that lost them that game. They had a chance to put Green Bay away early, and they didn't.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so Kirk Cousins, again, I think Kirk Cousins is a good quarterback. He's done some stuff. The one that's really surprising me right now is Matt Ryan, because, I mean, he's got almost 1,000 yards in 3 games.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just killing it. And then last night, he still got a bunch of points, even though his wide receivers didn't score anything.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, he was hitting. I don't even know. Yeah, that was weird.
Well,
give me 1 sec, guys. I'm gonna figure out my webcam situation. Okay? Give me 1 sec. You can take back with the football. Yo, Ollie, did you turn off your webcam?
See, now we can hear his conversation that he's having. Don't say something wrong there, Lance.
The last time I used it to do this, it was fine.
Don't say nothing wrong there, buddy.
I'm not sure exactly. I went to system preferences, but that's.
See,
I don't really know how to do anything else.
There's no picture for me to even mute him. You know, I can't even.
Because I went, it said that you could test it through Photo Booth. I just Googled quick, and I went to Photo Booth, and it said like
I don't
not being
hear this
recognized.
Conversation.
Something could be using it. Put the App Store.
Yes, Skype.
Oh, I just texted him. On
Mute yourself. I don't know how to mute myself. Hold on.
Well, then get the hell out.
Okay.
Good.
It's still picking up on this.
I can't tell. It says muted, so just leave it.
I'm hearing voices.
It's kind of odd, right?
I feel like Randy Orton. I hear voices in my.
I know. I just told him we can hear you guys. Shut the hell up.
I mean, like, I didn't turn anything off.
I don't know. It's kind of odd.
I didn't turn anything on.
Reboot your shit.
Yeah, reboot your shit. That's what I'm going to tell him in a message. Watch this. Reboot your shit. How about that, Lance? You really want to screw up the show? This is the way to do it, buddy.
And who's Brett playing this week? Brett, you playing Mark, man.
He plays Mark, huh? He's got to score a lot of points against Mark because Mark's a scoring team.
Hey, look, Mark has, in 3 games, 437 points.
Wow.
Yeah, that's like 140 and change per week.
Well, we lost Lance. He left.
Yeah, he probably had to leave. He probably went to the reboot.
Yeah, that's what I told him to do.
And Brett's team has a total of 352, which is about 117.
145.67 per week. Your team scores that? Psh, the hell out of here.
Whose team scored? Oh, in what league?
I guess in his league that he's in with Scott.
In your makeup fantasy?
Mark's. He's saying Mark's team.
Mark's team, 145.67, right? Compared to about 119 for Brett, something in that.
So Brett, you got to come up with another.
Yeah,
25
right
points.
off the bat, you're like 24 points in the hole before.
Right, exactly. So you better come up with 24, 25 points.
You'll have changes made by Sunday.
You better, buddy.
I don't know if I have anything left to trade, man. I just finished trading the guy you traded me, dude. I just had to have Christian Michael. That's all.
Yeah, no worries, man.
Well, I ain't worried about it. I'm undefeated, dude. You rejected Ronnie? Huh?
Gary's averaging 117, something like that in his last 3 losses. Gary, you haven't won a game yet?
Well, if he's averaging 117, I would think not.
You better get some players on that freaking team. Hey, you know something? It's a good thing we're having Ron Gallo on the show tomorrow.
Why?
Rangers open tonight in Madison Square Garden preseason. How about that?
Go.
And NBA is in camp.
Oh, training camp's open for the
training
NBA?
camp's open for NBA. Preseason has started in NHL already.
That's cool.
So yeah, we're going to be going full-time sports now. It's going to be a lot of fun. He's rebooting his computer right now.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Jackass.
Like, man, in 3 games, here's the thing. Lance has the worst output. In 3 games, his team has scored 254
in
points.
3 games? Oh, my God. How many points?
254.
254? What is that in average in 3 games there, Gary? Do that really quick for me, please.
That's about 81.
That's disgusting.
81 points a game. And that's because he hit 114 this weekend, or else it would have been somewhere.
84.67. Thanks, Gary. Wow. That's terrible.
If it wasn't for the 114 he scored this week, like I said, he'd be even lower than
under
that.
80.
Somewhere.
Wow, that's disgusting.
Yeah, it doesn't work well for you when that happens, man.
Wow.
Not at all. At least my team, my team is like what 100 almost 100, just a smidge under 130 points a game, 131 points a game.
Hey, let Ronnie screw up his own team.
Yeah, I don't know what happened with Ronnie this weekend. His team didn't score nothing. 91 points this weekend.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Derek's going to be in some trouble this week playing Josh. Although Josh has some guys, he's lost Aaron Rodgers, right?
Yeah.
Let's check out that matchup. Let me see what that matchup looks like. Let's see. So we got Josh, who is Gluey Hump against Bullet. Bulletproof Tigers. Here we go. I tell you right now, the projection, Derek has 92.64 and Josh is 102.52. So there's a 10-point spread right now as far as the pregame projections are concerned. Now, I'm looking at who set him up. Okay, so Josh, he's playing Kirk Cousins this week.
Yes.
You with me?
Yes. He's putting Cousins.
He's also playing Matt Forte against that Seattle defense. Devontae Freeman against Carolina. That's not going to be an easy chore. Neither is Eric Decker. Josh might not have a great week this week. He's got Marvin Jones. Here's where I think I always find a problem when you're trying to play fantasy, when you play two guys from the same team at the same position. He's got Marvin Jones and Anquan Bolden, both of Detroit.
Well, maybe he hasn't set his lineup yet for this week.
Yeah, it's still early in the week, but I'm just saying that's something he would want to consider changing.
Mm-hmm.
Like throwing Martellus Bennett as a second tight end or something like that instead of Bolden or something. But on the other side, Derek's got to put somebody in for Eddie Lacy because he's not playing this week. And Derek's backup running back on the bench, wow, he's going to have to play Allen Hurns because he only has one guy on the bench, and that's DeAndre Washington of Oakland. He doesn't even get any play. Oh, and Jeremy Langford's injured? Oh, Derek's in trouble, dude. He's got Langford injured. Wow. Yeah, I think Josh is safe this week, dude.
Yeah,
I think Josh should pull that game out.
I have the idea of Green Bay having their bye early in the season for us because he's got
Green Bay, Philadelphia, the first two teams to go on a bye. And then on my end, I've got I got to wait for that trade to go through. First of all, I'm dropping Shane Vereen because he's out for the year. And let's see. Yeah, his side, he's got Tyrod Taylor, Giovanni Bernard, Coleman, Julio Jones, Brandon Cooks, Dwayne Allen, Devontae Parker.
Right.
Huh?
He should be all right.
Yeah, Blanche is back.
Yeah, I just sent him an invite. He said he might just be able to do audio only.
Well, that's fine. Then you can just look at yourself on the screen.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
There he is.
There he is.
There he is.
Hey, there it is.
With the halo over his head.
I don't know. It's from my lamp. Sorry.
Oh, I like that. It looks like you're an angel.
Yeah, sent from above
Yeah.
to provide sports knowledge.
So all you had to do was reboot it and then set the settings, right?
Yeah, no, it's not. It's my buddy's computer. Back home, I use the desktop computer.
Right.
So in the background, like that was my living room, my dad's little den. But
I do that.
This is different. This is my buddy's laptop because my laptop just does not work. Basically,
Well, tell your buddy thank you very much for letting you use
Yeah,
it.
of course. All right, let's get back into this. So, what were we talking?
We kept on talking fantasy football until we brought your ass back. That's all.
Nice. That's good.
First of all, now that you can see us and we can see you, congratulations on your win.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, 1 and 2, the big 1 and 2.
Me and
I
Josh,
got two money leagues. I'm 1 and 2 and 2 and 1.
me and Josh are trying to stay undefeated this week because we've got a matchup on week 5, so we'd like to go in as an undefeated showdown.
Oh, that'd be sick. Who do you know who I have this week? I can check quick.
You're playing Kevin.
What's his record?
2-1.
Okay, 1 and 2, 2 and 1. I gotta see his team.
I just made a trade with
My team's garbage. Like you look at my team and it's absolute garbage. Just because.
Hey, I like that you changed the name of it to the infirmary. That's
because I had 4 guys go down.
I just
I'm
made
thinking about it's just terrible. Bad
I
team.
just made a trade with Kevin.
What'd you do?
I sent him Theo Riddick and Travis Benjamin for Brent Selleck and Christine Michael.
Oh, you got the Michael's swapping a bunch of teams. That's not a bad trade. That's pretty even both ways.
Mhm.
Yeah, Michael's been flipping around this league. I've been really trying to get from someone, whoever has the stockpile of receivers where they're benching one good one. I've been trying to get one of them from whoever it is, but they just keep rejecting everything. No one counters in this league. And you can't leave notes in the trades. I want to leave notes.
Let me give you. Yeah, you can. There's a note thing right there in the trade.
Maybe not on the app. That might be the problem.
Yeah, on the app.
I usually just use the app.
But hey, let me give you a piece of advice. Stop trying to trade Sammy Watkins.
I'm still gonna take him. I know it. The second he comes back and has like a 100-yard game, I'll get him.
Yeah, they're already reporting that he's not fantasy viable at the moment because of his foot injury.
Yeah, but even if I drop him, someone's gonna scoop him, so I gotta hold him on the bench. I think at least. We'll see.
I can tell you right now, though, but you could probably drop him and go back 3 weeks later, he'll still be there.
Yeah, I'm not gonna take that chance. Really, honestly, I just my team is so bad right now. I almost didn't even want to win last week just because I wanted the first waiver claim. Because I just keep grabbing these first waiver guys, like I'll eventually get a little bit better. And we saw that this week with the Noonwa. I mean, Fleener's good now. Doug Baldwin looks fine, and then I have Deion Lewis, who I picked up off PUP. I'm gonna hold him. John Brown finally caught more than a pass for 20 yards. And Moncrief's, I mean, my team is just decimated. It's AP, Keenan Allen, Danny Wood, and Dante Moncrief. It's 4 of my first 6 picks. It's just, I mean, if I get into the playoffs, you all suck. You guys suck. If I get into the playoffs. I'll tell you that right now.
I don't know why you're holding on to Keenan Allen and Adrian Peterson because they ain't coming back this year.
Oh, I don't have them.
Oh, you dropped them already?
No, I dropped them way long ago. My bench is just basically upside guys right now. Like the waiver wire this week's interesting because Jordan Howard should be the first claim, I would guess, unless you need a tight end, in which case you go Graham. But because Fleener played well, I don't need Graham, so I'm hoping those first 2 teams take the tight end, Zach Miller maybe, or don't overlook, go maybe Smallwood or something.
Paul will probably take Jordan Howard.
It's a good thing you kept Fleener because Derek said to sit him, so it was a good thing you kept him in your lineup.
Yeah, I mean, I usually listen to myself and really no one else with fantasy. So also got to bring up, I'm in the CBS Sports Expert Fantasy Baseball League, and I'm in the championship game right now, week 2 going, down by 12, and it's not looking too good. But worst comes to worst, I'll be runner up. So it's been a hell of a season for me in fantasy baseball. But if I win that, I'd be ecstatic if I somehow. So the problem with the guy is that he's got a couple of 2-star pitchers, and it's a points league. So the more points you generate from pitchers, the higher your score is going to be. And he's got Max Scherzer going and a couple other guys tonight. And I think that if the Nationals clinch and someone else clinches, they may skip the starts, which means he wouldn't get the points. So I'm basically 100% relying on luck right now. I need him to lose a couple starts because I got Syndergaard going tonight, and Kershaw and a couple other guys. So we'll see. That's another thing that I've been keeping an eye on very closely.
Looking right about now?
Not too hot. I mean, yeah, jumping over to baseball, it's been interesting. I gotta admit, I haven't watched too much, but I've of course been.
I'm gonna go, guys. I'm gonna go.
Yeah, no problem.
We'll talk some baseball for a while.
Yeah. I mean, I honestly haven't been watching too much, but I've been keeping up with it, and I was talking to a buddy of mine. I mean, the first thing you got to bring up, obviously, is the Jose Fernandez death. I'm sure you guys talked about that. That's just one of the most unbelievable things I think I've ever seen in baseball. And it's devastating to the community. It's devastating to the Marlins. They go from a team that was on the brink of the playoffs for most of the year to a team that I think is going to struggle to win more than 75 games for the next couple of years now, especially if Stanton can't stay on the field. I mean, they got no pitching, and it's just – and they have no pitching in the worst way imaginable, which is the death. But, man, that's just an absolute –
They used 9 pitchers last night to win that game?
Yeah, it's not even that. Their bullpen's not even that bad, I don't think. They got actually a couple arms in there. I like Barraclough's pretty good. AJ Ramos is still a decent, viable closer, but the starting pitching is the problem. I mean, they have nobody. Fernandez is one of the best. I'm just going to throw this out here. He's probably the best pitcher in baseball this year, but he wasn't considered in Cy Young because his team is so bad, which is just a flaw in the system, I think, personally. Right. But I mean, Syndergaard's right up there. And, I mean, Fernandez is going to go down, I mean, in history as having the highest K rate of any starting pitcher in baseball history, which is something I just don't think a lot of people even realize right now. He had he K'd 31% of the batters he faced, which no starting pitcher has ever done. You could go back to Koufax, you could go back to Nolan Ryan, you could go back to anyone. And it's it's amazing what he did, and it just sucks that he's gone because like. I mean, I obviously keep an eye on everything for fantasy and stuff, and he was one of the guys that I was looking at going into next year that I thought he was just going to blow up. 2 years removed from Tommy John. He's pitching this well right now. He hasn't really had too many setbacks. They've been holding him back, 180 innings. My thought was they were going to let him loose next year, and if he threw 220 innings, I mean, God, what he could have done is just unbelievable. But, I mean, to cap it off last night, I don't know if anyone saw what happened, but D. Gordon steps into the box as a righty with Jose Fernandez's helmet. It takes a pitch from Bartolo, which is a ball, then jumps over to the left side, takes another pitch of ball, and then the next pitch he hits is the first home run of the season for him. And, I mean, he was sobbing as he went around the bases. And it was that I saw that live, and, man, I was like, there's some things in baseball, you know, that just transcend baseball. And, I mean, I tweeted out a bunch of stuff, but there's some pretty cool facts on the game too. But that's, to me, I think that's one of the greatest moments in baseball history. And I don't think that it's even debatable. I just think that transcends baseball. Like, there's a lot of stuff in baseball that, like, I mean, you look at a lot of the things that the Red Sox have done in the past, that Aaron Boone home run stands out. My Cardinals with David Freese, like, but those are all like baseball centric moments. And if you just think of the gravity and what he meant to this town of Miami and just the impact he had on all those fans and the fact that he made them have any resemblance of confidence with how well he pitched for the future was just, that was the team. Like, you could trade Stan, and I think that if they got a good enough package back, fans might be a little bit upset, but would be accepting. But there was no package that was going to get Fernandez. He was a free agent in another year, and he probably would have garnered the biggest pitching contract in history if he put together another season like this. It's just, his peripherals were stupid. He had the best curveball I've seen in ages next to Kershaw's, and that moment last night was just unreal. They had 16 guys reach base too. He was obviously wore number 16. That's an unreal stat. And then another thing that I realized that I don't know if a lot of people realize is that if the Marlins win out right now, they'll end up with a 516 winning percentage rounded. It'll be 5155 rounded up to 516, and that'd be 16 is his number. So it's like, and that's only possible because of the game that was canceled, because they'll play 161 games this year. I assume it's not being made up because it's a nothing game. Both teams are eliminated. But
who were they playing?
They got a tough series against the Nats on the road, but I mean, they got the Mets for 3, and then they go to the Nats for 3 to finish off the season.
What game was postponed? Was it against the Mets?
No, it was a Braves. That was the Sunday game. They canceled it because of the death. So, but man, it's just that's one of them. I'm gonna look back on that in a while. I don't think I'm ever gonna forget that. I was watching that. That was just, you just stared at the TV for a little bit and just
See, the day started off with his death, and then the day ended off with Arnold Palmer's death. And then at the same time, Scully calls his last game too, and the Dodgers walk off clinch. It's just, that was a hell of a day in baseball. I mean, and I mean in the sports universe with Palmer, obviously, and stuff. But he doesn't travel with them on the road, does he, Scully?
No, he doesn't. That was his last game. That's why they have a I think a 6-game road trip coming up during the season.
They're here Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at Dodgers.
There you go.
Scully would come down and do the game.
No, that was his last one. They had a big conference afterwards, but I mean. Yeah, I mean, I heard his successor's pretty good from as far as a lot of the beat writers, how they've been talking and such. But I heard his successor's decent. And I mean, there's a lot of managers and announcers in baseball.
Who's taking over for him?
Don't remember his name. I'll look it up quick. But but I mean, that's just such a sad thing.
Charlie Steiner.
Joe Davis. He's a pretty young guy, from what I understood. That's what I'm looking at right now. Joe Davis is his name. Obviously not too well known, but then again, like, how many guys jump into the broadcast booth and do play-by-play and aren't well known? But I think he's pretty young. I bet he's in his 30s or whatever.
Doesn't Charlie Steiner do the radio side for them, for the Dodgers?
Believe so, yeah. Joe Davis did the road games. So if any diehard Dodgers fans watch the road broadcast of Dodgers games, I tend to watch the home broadcast of whatever game I'm watching.
Yeah, so
so
he's been doing all the Dodger road games then.
Yeah, so I mean, he's not a completely new fresh face, but that should be interesting. I'm interested to watch some of those broadcasts next year and see how he does and such. But
I'm going to see if I can find the Dodger broadcast during the Padre game and listen to him. Yeah,
definitely. I'd be interested to see your thoughts on him and stuff. I don't think I've heard too much of him. My favorite broadcasters still kind of stem from. Actually, I've always liked. I don't know if I mentioned the Mets. I always like the Mets broadcast. I think they do a very good job. Keep it loose, very unbiased. But there's some ones that I don't like, but obviously subjective. And I'm sure if I'd anger some fan bases if I went and said that I didn't like the broadcast.
Yeah, well,
but
see, growing up, I listened to Marv Albert and Ralph Kiner.
yeah, there you go.
So,
That's cool.
I had it great growing up.
Yeah, for sure. You had some great ones there. But
I had Marv Albert doing basketball games and Ralph Kiner doing Met games.
Yeah, there you go.
And whatchamacallit, and Phil Risotto doing the Yankee game. So I was set.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, we could jump over to just the races and the wild card in general. I mean, it's obviously become a lot more clear now. And
so it looked like it. So right now it's the Mets in San Francisco 1-2, correct?
Yeah, Cards are a game out. Miami's 4 out. So I said Miami was eliminated earlier, and I obviously was wrong on that. They're only 4 back, but that takes some Fernandez magic.
Your Cards better start playing some ball if they plan on.
Oh my God, they just so disappointing. Honestly, it's just I just don't understand. I mean, I want the Cards to get in, obviously, but it's like number one, I don't know who they're not gonna jump into the division, which is, I mean, obviously they weren't gonna jump into that for the last 2 months, but if they get in that game, I just don't know who they're gonna throw. And that's pretty terrifying to me because there's a really good chance they're going to be facing Bumgarner. And the Cards don't hit lefties well at all. I think they're probably bottom 5 in baseball.
So that's who they'll probably play, San Francisco?
Yeah, I mean, I think San Fran gets in. I think they're too good of a team. I still absolutely stunned the Mets are lingering like this. I mean, they've gotten some starts from guys like Lugo and Selman, who've just kind of come out of nowhere. And I mean, they're obviously good pitchers and all, but their peripherals don't say they're going to be this good for that long.
Right.
And I'd bet against them if I was a Met fan. Or, I mean, obviously, we'll see what happens. But they got the Miami game. Bartolo looked pretty terrible last night, but Bartolo's actually been very consistent. He just has these games where he just can't find this. He just finds the strike zone, but they swing, which not a lot of other teams do. But yeah, I mean, I still think the Mets fall out. I don't know. I mean, I know they're hot right now. Grandy and Cespedes have 30 home runs, which I think is the first time a Mets pairing has done that probably since the 80s, I would guess. St. Louis is a game out. They got Cincinnati coming up. Alex Reyes is had a bit of a blip against the Cubs over the weekend, but he gets a start at home against Cincinnati, which I think he should run with. I mean, I still like the chances for the Cards to get in. I'd like to look at their odds. I know Fangraphs, I think, has them just under a coin flip. And it has the Mets and Giants looking like they'll face off in that game. Mm-hmm. But I mean, at the moment, I think that if I had to predict right now, I think the Cards go into San Francisco and play that game, and I bet they lose, unfortunately. And I hate to bet against my own team, but they just don't have the best luck against the Giants. But I mean, then you look past that, and I think that the NL is a 3-team race, and I think that the AL is probably like a 2-team race, honestly. And I'll break out what I think on those. The 3 teams in the NL, I think it's down to Washington, the Cubs, and the Dodgers. I don't see the depth in either of these teams coming out of the wild card. I said that about the Cardinals. I don't think the Mets are as good as the Cardinals. And I think the Giants are the best team out of that bunch. But if the Giants win that, they're probably going to have to go play the Cubs. They match up pretty poorly with the Cubs, I would say. The Cubs just have so much depth with pitching. I know they're the favorite. I know the popular pick right now for the series is Cubs-Sox. I wouldn't doubt that for a second. I bet the odds on that are pretty terrible, honestly. Even if you think that's going to happen, there's no point in putting money on it because the return's so bad. But I honestly, my preseason bet, my preseason World Series was Nationals-Tigers. Tigers, I believe, are still in it. They're 2 games out. That's going to be tough to jump over one of those AL East teams. But they do play each other in that last weekend series, so something might happen there. That's pretty funky. But I really like the Dodgers, honestly. This is a team that I don't think a lot of people are talking about. They went the whole season without Kershaw, basically 4 months, 3.5,
yeah.
And they overtook the Giants, who were absolutely running away with it, who had the staff of all staffs. Johnny Cueto's been a terrible second-half pitcher. Jeff Samardzij's been a little bit better than advertised in the second half. He was pretty bad to start the season. Had a pretty good stretch of games. Bumgarner's been fantastic. He's the one piece in that rotation, but I really like, I don't know why, but I really like how the Dodgers match up against some of these other teams. I think Rich Hill is going to be a dark horse, fantastic start option. If you go lefty Kershaw Hill, that's going to be, I would not want to face that if I was any other team. And I mean, the Cubs match up well. They got some righties, but I don't know how well Rizzo hits lefties. I don't know how well Zobrist switches versus lefties. I know he's a switch hitter, and some of the other guys, but there's something about the Dodgers right now that I think if you look at their season as a whole and you add back Kershaw is currently dominating right now. And the fact that he's going to be that fresh means, to me, if they really want to win it, I think they're going to start forcing him to a couple more starts. And you're not going to have a lot of pullback from management because he hasn't thrown in enough innings for them to be like, hey, you're going to overstress that back, overstress that arm. They might be a little bit cautious with it, but I think their path to winning it, to getting in and possibly beating the Cubs, which I think the Nationals and the Dodgers do have a shot of doing. I think that they need to throw Kershaw possibly almost 3 times a series, which may be a little crazy, but I'd like to see how the schedule breaks out. Kershaw has to start game 1, probably game 4, and they got to force him to game 7 in the NLCS if they get there. If they go 5 games, I don't see any way he starts 3, but I know he's starting 2, and I don't think there's any question of that. But yeah, I like the Dodgers, and I mean, I said my Nats pick. I have that in the Bahamas on a sports book at 19-1 when I was down there, and I'm lingering with that. I'm going to stick with that. That's my pick for the series right now, just because I don't want to waver from preseason. That's up on the site. I have money on it, so I'm sticking with it. I like the Nats in the World Series still, but I'm a little bit tentative with it just because I saw Wilson Ramos go down yesterday. Bryce Harper on what they were calling was one of the dirtiest plays in the last several years. The Pirates fans, but Pirates fans are also crazy. Apparently I believe it was Jung Ho Gung at third fake to tag on like the ball. So he's standing at third like the ball's coming in, but it wasn't actually coming in. So Harper slid, and I believe he effed up his thumb. Excuse my language there. But we'll see with what happens with Ramos. He did not look too healthy after that. That means they're going to have to go to I believe Jose Lobaton is a switch hitter, not a very good defensive catcher, but I think the odds are going to drop in the Nationals pretty heavy if Ramos is out for more than a couple weeks. He might be one of those situations if he could crash behind the plate, which is going to be a problem with his knee. He might be one of those guys like the Yachty situation where if he can't hit, they'll still bat him ninth and just let him sit there and take the out because they want his game management because he catches Scherzer so well, he catches Rorax so well. And some of the other guys in their rotation too, Gio Gonzalez. I doubt they'd start Lucas Giolito, but they're an interesting team. I like the Nats. Cubs are just built to win. They're at 100 wins right now. We'll see how that fares. But yeah, the NL, it's cleared itself up a lot. We'll see how a lot of these teams finish. The team I would say I'm still most surprised with in the NL coming down to this point in the season is the Pirates. I was high on them all the year. I thought that outfield was one of the best, but Ramos tore his ACL. I haven't been looking at the comments here, so let me run back through these. But I'm pretty disappointed with the Pirates just as the play as a whole. I was high on them all year. I thought they had the staff, but Cole fell apart. Glasnow didn't really turn out to be as good as advertised, but I think that was kind of expected. He's been a control problem guy, and I mean, I'd like to do some studies on what exactly control pitchers do when they come up to the majors, just because you see a lot of these guys, like Jarrell Cott for the A's came up a couple days ago, he's pitched very well, very good control guy. You look at other guys who come up with very good control who are polished, and I mean, those are the guys that succeed immediately, and all the other guys generally don't, and it's a little disappointing. But like guys like Alex Reyes, he's kind of the elite caliber. I pegged him in my midseason prospect rankings as the number 1 pitcher. I put him over Giolito, I put him over Glasnow and some of the other guys. But I just thought he was so much more polished. I've seen him all pitch, and I mean, I'm not a scout, but I just think that if there's a guy that has those 3 pitches that advanced at this age, I'm going to take that guy with 3 pitches over the guy with 2 that are better any day of the week. It's so hard to survive in the MLB with 2 pitches. You can't name a pitcher that does it consistently, honestly. And the thing is, like the culprit for a guy pushing to the elite level is the 3rd pitch. And you can have one very good pitch, but you need a 3rd pitch to counteract that. You can't have a guy guessing 50-50 every time because he's just going to sit on one of those 2, and he's going to hit a lot of them. And I mean, you've seen that with a lot of guys. Carlos Rodon for the White Sox, he's had this problem all his career. He's finally looking a little bit better right now, but he's been a slider fastball guy all his career, and guys have sat on those. They sit on one or they sit on the other, and they hammer it. And now he's finally developing, I believe, a change or probably a better 2-seam, and he's improved a ton. And he's going to be one of those guys I think that might break out a little bit next year. But I'm not sure where I was going with that. I went on a bit of a tangent right there. But Ramos is done. Is Peavy still with San Fran? I wouldn't trust him as far as I could throw him.
No way.
He's actually had a surprisingly okay year. I believe
he's not the Jake Peavy of old, though. Not even close. Right?
What did you say?
He's not the Jake Peavy. He's not the Jake Peavy at old.
No. He's not the Cy Young Jake Peavy at all. No, he's not even close to that. He's been terrible the last couple of years. Yeah. But yeah, Gary says here. I think that's to Fernandez's ERA is 2.58. Yeah, if you want to look at something crazy, look at his home splits. I'll jump to Fangraphs so we can look at those quick. Those are just stupid, honestly. And I mean, home road splits, they often say, I know a lot of the guys. I write for Fish Stripes too, which is the SB Nation Marlins page. So I've been on and off with that as the works come and stuff. But it's just I've watched a couple of starts this year, which I've had the honor of doing now that he's gone. But it's kind of amazing to me. Ooh, are you guys still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, my screen lagged for a sec there. But I mean, hey, Fernandez at home, man. Whew, those stats. Let me pick. He's insane. Like that 2.38 ERA is stupid enough, but I think his home ERA this year was like a buck something. It was just absurd. Like I don't understand. Where I was going with this, excuse me, I'm a little bit sidetracked today, but where I was going with this was that they often say, I know a lot of guys say that the home road splits don't tend to average out. They're not predictive to any extent, but I actually kind of disagree with that pretty heavily. I don't have the stats to back it up, but I've noticed in a lot of starts that it goes, guys that do better at home tend to do better at home. And I mean, it might be first half to second half splits, but if a guy gets in a groove at home, I just think psychology is such a big part of baseball and routines are such a big part of baseball that if you have the security of going back home and knowing where you're warming up and knowing what is where and this is there, this is the walk to the mound, this is the walk to the bullpen, this is where I throw, I know the bullpen mound, I know the fans, I know this, like that's just an intangible you can't quantify. And I mean, I'm more so than a lot of people, I think, value the intangibles, even though I'm a pretty big stat guy when it comes to baseball. But yeah, Fernandez at home, man, that's a poster boy for the home road splits panning out because he's done it all his career. And this year he's been pretty stupid with it. Still trying to pull him up here. Yeah, I mean, I could touch a little on the AL now. I know I did a little NL tangent there, but the AL, I mean, every year you look at the team that gets hot, and the team that's hot right now, the team that's absolutely on fire right now is the Red Sox. 10-0, 11-game winning streak. They go into New York this weekend, which is awesome because I love that. With Poppy on his way out and stuff, that's going to be unbelievable. I want to see what the Yanks give him. One of the best gifts he got has to be that bullpen from Camden Yards when remember a while back he flipped out on the ump and he bashed the bullpen phone. I believe the Orioles gave him that, and that's the best gift he's got. And I don't think the Yanks are going to top it. But the Yanks were pretty classy, the Red Sox were pretty classy when Mo retired, Mariano Rivera. Mm-hmm. So I'm interested to see exactly what the Yanks do. But yeah, I mean that it's just really hard for me to look at any other team in the AL right now and put money on it if I had to. If you had a theoretical gun to my head, it's Boston, and I mean it's the hottest team every year that keeps it going. And I mean I know I'm tentative on that staff. I've always been tentative on the staff. I still don't think Porcello is the Cy Young, even though a lot of the Boston fans out here think he is. I'm heavy on Kluber. I just think he's been a better strikeout pitcher. He's basically performed at a more consistent level. And I know a lot of people will say, oh, no, Porcello's pitched at a bit more consistent level because their mind immediately goes back to that first month of Kluber. But if you actually break out all their months, Kluber's first 2 months were better than Porcello's worst 2 months, which were back-to-back at almost the exact same period, I believe. Porcello struggled mightily. He had like a 4.9 ERA, I think, in July or something like that. And then the month after, he had a 4.6. He's really been like a recency bias kind of guy with how well he's been pitching. And I understand that wins Cy Young votes a lot of the time. We saw with Felix Hernandez a couple years ago. But if you look at the season as a whole, he's had fantastic control, but he's a ground ball pitcher. And I've asked a couple of my friends out here, are you over under on a Porcello 3.5 ERA next year? And to my surprise, I mean, I'm over just because I believe in regression if you look at his peripherals. But a lot of them said over 3.5 ERA for him. And I was kind of surprised with that because if you think the guy's going to regress that much, then you don't have any confidence in his skills going forward, which means that why are you voting for him for Cy Young if you don't have confidence in his skills? If I'm looking at a guy who's had the best season, who has had the best skills, the best curveball, it's Corey Kluber. And I mean, there's debate. I think Sale's up there too, but the voting is going to go to the team with the wins. And I will always stand against that. But if you think from the logical standpoint, I guess you could argue Porcello, but I mean, I don't really care about the difference between 4 wins. You know, wins are so fluky. Like half the time, like I want to go back maybe and see how many games has Kluber had the lead and then the bullpen blew it. And I know that bullpen's been pretty good, but Allen blew a lot of saves early in the year. So how many, if you eliminate blown saves, does Kluber win 22 games and Porcello win 24? Like, it's a stat that when you look at it as a whole, it doesn't matter that much, really. And I mean, I know the guys go for wins. You see a lot of guys push through, say, I want to stay out for 5 innings to get the win. But once they're out of that game, it doesn't matter. And I mean, there should almost be a stat like, were they in line for the win when they left the game, or when their book closed? Like, that should just be the stat, honestly. Like, I understand quality start, but quality starts has a flaw too. If you go 8 innings and give up 4 runs, it's not a quality start, even though your ERA might be a little bit lower than if you go, say, 6 and give up 3, you know, or something like that. ERA, honestly. But it's interesting. But I think that there's always a ton of stock put in wins, and I understand it, but Porcello's had incredible run support. That offense is stupid good, and I just don't think he's gonna be good next year. And I mean, that's terrible to say. The Sox are a good team, but I mean, the funny thing is, like, if you look at some of the advanced metrics that break out pitcher value, some of it agrees that Price has actually had an extremely comparable season. And I mean, everyone will go, no way, but the thing that looks gross for Price is his ERA, but he's actually had probably relatively similar control numbers, had a substantially better strikeout rate, probably at eliminating balls in play, or similar probably home run rates. I know Purcell hasn't given too much home runs, and I know Purcell is a better control pitcher, but I bet Price has a lower FIP, which is an obvious a much better predictor of success, like pure pitcher skill success. And I mean, Price is, as much as fans hate him, I mean, he's had a pretty good year. I mean, I know he's been pretty bad in instances, but I fear, honestly, for him, if they get into the playoffs and he doesn't pitch well, how bad Boston fans are going to just absolutely rip his head off, because he hasn't been good in the postseason. And I believe postseason is a very small sample size. Another guy, a perfect example of a guy who's been bad in the postseason, is Clayton Kershaw. Yeah, he's been bad in the postseason, but you know, he's been bad against the Cardinals in the postseason. He hasn't really been bad in the postseason in general. If you look back to all those bad starts, it's all come against the Cardinals. I think it's like 3 starts where he's just gotten lit up. They just get to him early, and they know how to hit him, and it's honestly it's almost a fluke. Like, I'll admit, to some extent, it's probably a fluke. I mean, a lot of those guys, there's a lot of turnover on the team and stuff. And it's not that Kershaw hasn't pitched well in the postseason. It's just he hasn't pitched well against the Cardinals. They're a bad matchup for him. Even though they hit left-handed pitching well, for some reason they hit him well.
You've been saying that for a long time.
I have, yeah, and I stand by it, you know. But I'm going to stand by the Kluber case for Cy Young. I don't understand the Porcello case. Oh no, excuse me, that's wrongly said. But I understand the Porcello case. I just don't agree with it. But I mean, I'm always going to go with the guy that has the better pure skills. I eliminate all the stats that are fluky, like wins. And I mean, you jump over the NL too. That's young pitchers become a lot different. I think it goes to Jose Fernandez now, just because of passing and stuff. But aside from that, I think it could have gone to Syndergaard. Probably Scherzer would have been a very good case. But I think that goes to Jose now, just because of the death. But I mean, and it's not even just because of the death. If you look at the stats, he's been the best pitcher in baseball statistically. He's had the highest strikeout rate of any pitcher. He's got a couple wins. He's got some wins. He's got, what does he have? 16. Like, once you're above like 10, I really don't care. Let me see his stats. Otherwise, his home ERA, man. Let me see this. What is it? His home ERA this year is 1.63 in 104 innings. In those 104 innings, he struck out 154 batters. He has an average of 193 against. He's given up 4 home runs. It's just insane. Like, he's done this for so long, and I just find it fascinating. And I mean, that just pulls immediately back to psychology of it, as I was talking about. Like, his career. So for 2013 to 2015, his home ERA was 1.4, and that was in 167 innings. And his record at home, he actually lost too. A lot of people forget this. He lost his first game at home this year in his career. And he started in 2013. I know he missed the year for Cy Young, but between 2013 and 2015, 167 innings at home, 2 seasons. He's 17-0 with 192 Ks through 167 with a 180 average against. It's just, it's mind-boggling numbers. Like, it's better than what Kershaw's done. Honestly, like, if you want Fernandez at home or Kershaw full season, you almost take Fernandez at home. That's how good he's been, you know. And the statistics probably back that up. And so I mean, it's interesting though, because if you look at it from the perspective of wins, Fernandez wasn't being considered because his team is out of it. But something like a death like this pushes him back to the top. So it's like, I agree with it. Like, I think that the case was there for him regardless. He's most definitely finish top 3, but now because of all this, he's going to jump up to the first spot, and I believe he is deserving of that. And I like that, honestly. Like, the best pitcher is getting the award now. And that's something that not a lot of people look at. And, I mean, if you look at pitcher WAR, I believe the top 4 guys are all NL pitchers. So that just kind of goes to the state of the AL as far as pitching goes, and
this is
how
the
those
last
matchups
week
are
of
going
the
to end
season,
up.
right?
It is, yeah. And, I mean, if you look at Cleveland, like, I haven't seen Scott in a while, but I'd like to see his confidence level 1 to 10 right now. If I was a Cleveland fan, I think it's got to be
because he was in here earlier. He had the Cleveland garb on. He was all ready to go. He had to go because his back was killing him.
No worries. But I mean, I'd be confident too. I'm always jazzed up when the Cardinals are in the series and stuff. But as his confidence, like his objective confidence, I'd like to see what that is. If I was a Cleveland fan, I think it's got to be like a 5. It's got to be teetering on a 5 because they don't have any pitching right now. I mean, it's just tough. Like, it's unfortunate, but they've lost the pitching. Like, they have Bauer and Mike Clevenger right now. And then they have Kluber, he's going to have to be into the Kershaw scenario of trying to pitch as often as he can if he wants to have any success. But I mean, they don't have Salazar. They don't have the thing that made them good for most of the year. And I don't see any way they win it with that. And I mean, Hamels is cooled off too. I mean, it's I said it was a 2-horse race earlier. I just think it's almost like a 1-horse race now. Honestly, like it's the Sox to lose. They've run into the perfect scenario. And I mean, Sox Cubs series is the favorite, and I bet that's almost even odds, maybe a little bit lower, probably favored, or probably, on the underdog. But if you're looking at any combination of World Series teams right now, it's Sox Cubs is the favorite. If I had to predict right now what happens, I got to stick with the Nats, I'd say. So I'll go Nats Sox if the Tigers are out of it. The Tigers were my other pick in the AL.
Nats
Sox,
huh?
Yeah, I'll go Nats Sox. That'd be interesting. I just got an update on my phone too, something about Strasburg. National Steven Strasburg unlikely to be ready in time to pitch for NLDS due to strained flexor mass in right arm. So there's a good chance that they'll face who? Let me check this quick. They will probably face the Dodgers, with the Cubs facing the wild card team. So that's interesting. That might switch up, but yeah, Nats Dodgers. That'd be a hell of a series, and I think they'd really need Strasburg for that. Because let me check to see how the Nationals do against lefties. Because I'm positive they're going to be facing Rich Hill and Clayton Kershaw. I bet they're a decent lefty hitting team because they got Rendon and some of the other guys. But let me take a look here. Nationals are load for me, computer. Yeah, they're number 12 overall average. OPS is right in that window. So they're about a middle-of-the-road team versus lefties. So they got a shot in that series. That'll be a great series. The Cubs should wipe the floor with whoever comes in from the wild card game. Those wild card games should be sometime mid-next week, I would guess. Those are going to be really fun to watch.
Yeah,
I'm always interested in the pitching matchups with those. We've had great memories with those, too. If you go back to, like, the Cueto days when the guys were chanting Cueto and stuff, that was hilarious. And, I mean, I'm grabbing my charger here, excuse me. But
don't they start Wednesday?
Yeah, I'd assume they do. The season ends Sunday, I want to say. And then I'd assume they do that. They probably have a day to travel, and then it'll be that next day. So we'll see with that. But right. Yeah, it'll be interesting for sure.
It's gonna be. Yeah, are you gonna be back here next week?
Good chance. Yeah, I got to take a look, but there's a good chance they're gonna be back for Tuesday.
Cool.
Week after might be a little bit interesting, but
well, that's as long as we can get you back because we don't have.
Yeah, as long as it's even if it's every other week thing or something like that. As long as we're jumping in and looking at some stuff, that'd be cool.
Nice selfie there, Lauren.
That's funny.
Yeah, that is funny. Yeah.
But yeah,
guy put that up there.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a hell of a series here with a lot of the stuff happening.
That's interesting, huh?
Yeah. AL Cy Young too. I mean, we were talking about that. AL MVP. That's like a 5-horse race. I mean, take there. I know there's some cases for each of the guys. Mookie's got a good case. Donaldson's got a good case. Altuve has one of the more interesting cases as far as stats go. That's an interesting race. Rookie of the years too. I mean, I believe that the tides turned to Gary Sanchez for the Yanks for the AL, even though he's played so few games. But he's been really good, and I mean, I'm interested. I don't know. That might be the least amount of games played as far as a position player goes to win the AL Rookie of the Year, or any Rookie of the Year. He's only played, I think, about 45. He'll probably end up around the mid 50 range. But he's been raking. But Michael Fulmer is the guy that you can't discount. He pitched for the Tigers, pitched very well all year. Hasn't pitched well of late, but it's kind of, again, it's a recency bias thing with a lot of the guys.
What's your thoughts on the Cubbies?
They're good. They're really good, and I don't see any way you bet against them right now, unless you made a preseason bet like me and went Nats. But I think you're kind of insane to go any other team. I could jump on Bovada and see what the World Series odds, but the Cubs got to be favored. They're just built so well. They got 3 pitchers. They could play in and out. They could throw some of the guys out of the pen that were starters. They could go Mike Montgomery, a lot of these other guys. It's just
right.
Yeah, I mean, they're good. They're scary good, but I mean, they got a lot of stuff hanging over their head. They got a lot of pressure. So I'll try to leave my fandom aside, but I mean, they're good. I just think they're going to be really tough to beat. I'd love to see some Game 7s, honestly, Game 5s and stuff. That'd be real fun. I mean, I think everybody wishes for that in any sport. That's a series.
I'm not too fond of that playing game, though. You know how I feel about that. I hate that.
Yeah, I know you do. Yeah, I mean, I wish it was a 3-game series. I mean, they should. My proposal would be just cut off that last series, do like 178, 79
get
games.
rid of that crap altogether and go back to the way it used to be.
Yeah, no, and then do like a 3-game series. Honestly, I think that's the way to go. Honestly, do a 3-game series because one and done's tough. Like you work all season again as the second wild card, and you play 1 game.
Right.
And that dictates whether you have 5 more games potentially or 0.
Right.
And that's kind of nuts. Like I know that a lot of people say that that's what it is. Like this is the game. Say it's Game 7 of the ALCS. You either automatically play another 4, or you're done. But like you play the whole season to get here, and a lot of teams now decide with the trade deadline.
Yeah, right. And 1 game.
The trade deadline. A ton of teams make moves thinking that they could grab that second wild card. But man, that's such like a toss up. That game is such a toss up that I have no idea. You know, no one really knows what's going to happen in those cases with a lot of that stuff. So
I know it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Right?
Nuts.
Hey, bro, let's get this lock out of here, man. Thank you for putting up with all the tech problems and everything.
Yeah, no problem.
And all that.
Mostly on my end.
Yeah, well, now that you know how to do it, we'll get you here next week.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey, do me a favor. Don't work too hard at your job, man.
I'll try not to. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll stay. I'll always be watching sports and stuff. So
yeah, I know that. And good luck.
Light's still kicking and stuff.
Good luck on.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
The fantasy football league. Good luck on that.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun. Well, I'll keep in touch with Elliot with that. We've been talking trades and stuff.
Cool.
So
and we'll see you next Tuesday, my friend.
Yeah, sounds good.
Thanks, pal.
Take it easy. Pleasure.
Lance BROZDOWSKI from Big3Sports.com joining us to talk MLB. We're going to get the flock out of here ourselves. I want to thank everybody who joined us today. We had Lance BROZDOWSKI. We had Scott the Sports Nerd, Elliot Big E Lamba. Thank you guys for hanging out with us and doing the show. Remember, we'll be back tomorrow with Ron Gallo talking hockey in the second hour of the show. Until then, my friends, remember, you only have one life to live. Live it long, live it strong, and live it proud. And please don't forget, life may suck, but the alternative is unacceptable.
Thanks for listening to Sports World Radio with your hosts, Jeff Escow and Elliot Big E Lamba. Online at sportsworldradio.com. Sports World Radio, the equal opportunity ripper. We'll catch you next time.